All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, after barely missing the postseason last year, the expectations were very high for the Toronto Blue Jays heading into this season. And for Toronto, they got off to a solid start, but heading into play today, they had lost 9 out of their last 11, which included losing 3 out of 5 to the Tampa Bay Rays, losing 2 out of 3 to the Oakland Athletics, and then getting swept in a 4-game series at the hands of the Seattle Mariners. And in the case of both the Rays and Mariners, these are two teams that the Jays are in contention for a wild card spot in the American League. Now, yes, the expanded postseason should help Toronto make the playoffs, but they have to play better than they did on their recent slide. And, just getting back to the expectations for this team heading into this year. You lose Robbie Ray in free agency. He was a Cy Young Award winner. You also lose Marcus Simeon. But then you go out there and sign Kevin Gausman, and then you trade for Matt Chapman. Vlad Guerrero Jr. was second in the MVP voting last year. He hit well over 300 last year, but heading into play today, he's only hitting 266. Jose Barrios, he's 7-4 for the Jays so far this season, but he has a earned run average of 5.38. As a whole, Toronto's pitching staff has the 12th best ERA in the American League heading into play today at 4.08, while they had given up the second most home runs in the junior circuit as well. Now, if you're asking, will the firing of Charlie Montoyo, which happened today as a manager of the Blue Jays, light a spark for this team? And I think the answer is yes, because you look at it in this recent stretch for Toronto, and as bad as Oakland has played this year, I know that this was a road series. If you're Toronto and this is starting a road trip for you, you can't lose 2 out of 3 todays. And then coming back against Seattle, a team that was picking up momentum, a team that was looking up to you in the standings for the final wild card spot in the American League, they came out and swept you on their home field. And that right there was big. Toronto did respond. They won their first game last night in Philadelphia against the Phillies. And then, of course, the firing of Montoyo happened, but still they came back and beat the Phillies today by the score of 8-2. And of course, the Phillies are a team that had to deal with this as well when they recently fired Joe Girardi as their manager. But nonetheless, Toronto's got to play better. And it's not just about playing better against the top teams. It's taking care of your business against the teams that you're supposed to beat. At this point, I don't think anybody's going to expect Toronto to contend for the AL East crown just due to the fact that the Yankees are playing as good as they are. And let's be realistic. This is a division right now where we expected to see 4 teams make the playoffs, but then you have the Baltimore Orioles who are now playing 500 baseball, and they have an opportunity to be a factor in this as well. So you don't want to slide too far back if you're Toronto. Yes, the odds are stacked against you as far as potentially winning this division. But with that said, you still have a good chance to get a postseason spot. You just don't want to go out there and take it for granted. With that said, Toronto has to play better. And, obviously you cannot fire the players. So, the manager or head coach becomes expendable. And in this case right now, I'm looking at Toronto. They won this 2-game set against the Phillies. Now you really have an opportunity ahead of you to get your sea legs back and have a good feeling going forward. I say this because you have one more series prior to the All-Star break that begins tomorrow night. You're home for the Kansas City Royals. The Royals lineup is going to be depleted due to the fact that they have multiple players who are not making the trip to Toronto due to the fact that they are not vaccinated. And with that said, Kansas City was already, struggling this season. I didn't expect them to be a playoff team, don't get me wrong, but they're really struggling. So now, if you're Toronto, you have an opportunity to take advantage of this. You definitely want to take at least 3 out of 4 and possibly sweep this series. Have a good feeling for yourself heading into the All-Star break, and then you want to try to get that momentum or keep that momentum with you as the second half of the season begins. But the bottom line, the expectations were high for the Blue Jays this year. For the most part, they were looking like a playoff team, but I think this recent slide, led to the firing of Montoyo. And at the end of the day, it was a tough stretch that the Blue Jays had. And I say tough stretch from the standpoint that losing 9 out of 11, you got to go out there and answer the bell. Getting swept by the Mariners, obviously in a 4-game set, losing 2 out of 3 against the Oakland Athletics is not a good look. The change was made. The Blue Jays responded for tonight. Let's see if they can build some momentum for themselves, finish the first half on a strong point, carry that over to the second half, and potentially do some damage and eventually get to the postseason. Let's see how it works out for the Jays. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There is also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.